checking some of the cows. It's usually the old man's job, but what we need to do, they're all up on their feet, which is a good thing. Usually they're laid down, you have to get them up, and you feel a bit bad getting them up. Oh, that's Lucas. Now what we're looking for, any limping, checking the eyes. I can see, well, they're all running away from us, so just giving them a quick glance over, count them up, and make sure they're all there. Check the calves, make sure the calves are all right, and make sure they got water, make sure the field conditions are all right, make sure they got enough grass. We just try and get around them here. Pigeon furrow this one. Whee! The old man's away today, so the farmer's been out and checked all the others, but he just asked me to come and check this one for him, which we will do. I count 18 with the bull. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 19 with the bull. Make that 19 with them. Just have a little glance over them. Also checking for flies. Now usually it's unusually cold at the moment. Still, ever since April it's actually been very cold. May has been showery, very wet. So it's unusually cold still at the minute. But once it starts warming up, the flies start attacking the eyes of the cows. So once that happens, we will then bring them in some. What we found worked well yet last year was some garlic mineral buckets from Dallas Key. Those worked really well last year, and they kept the flies at bay. It didn't keep every single cow away from flies, but it kept most of them. Because you've got to rely on the cow, obviously, licking the bucket. But they're all looking really well. We'll go and check the water, and that'll do. They've got 2 fields to go out. They've got another field attached to this one, so they've got plenty of grass here. Grass is growing like mad at the moment, so that's a good thing. It's the old man's job every day. First thing he does, goes around the cattle and make sure the cattle are all right. A lot of buttercup about this year. Heck of a lot. Water trough's full, it's not running, and it's clean, so that's good. That's all we need to see. Just show you some of the barley, and this is pretty much a picture of wherever there's barley, wherever it's wet like this. It's actually not doing very well there, but what we need is some dry weather now. It's been it's been quite a wet May so far, and coming to a bit like this, you can see where it lies in the water. It affects the barley quite bad. And what happens is it will be some of the tillers, like this one. It looks yellow. It looks yeah, it doesn't look very well at all, and it's just barley not liking the wet. Back in the rape field, as you can see, it's all come out in flower. Yeah, is it amazing? No, we don't think it's amazing. It started looking that pale colour, which farmer thought it was a lack of sulphur. We gave it a dose of sulphur, and it still didn't pick up after that. Whether it's the wet or whatever else, we don't know. But as you can see, it's just coming out in flower, and let's see what's on there. They're still full of little bugs, look. So, and it's still coming out in flower, so it's still going to yellow up a little bit more yet. But whether it will yield anything is another thing, because there's still, I can still see the little beetles on there, whether you can see it or not. Right in the buds of the flower. So there'll be something to cut, but what will come from it, I don't know. There's lots of bees out here, that's a good sign. one of the rules is when you're spraying insecticide to kill the little critters that are on here, is that you can't do it in sunlight. You got to do it early on before the bees get out and get busy, so you don't kill the bees. But yeah, there's nothing else to. I don't think there's nothing else to go on out here. But it's looking a little bit better. I didn't think it'd look this thick actually. Standing in it, it looks better than it does from the road. The other top end doesn't look so well. There's a corner of the field there that's not doing so well. But hey, it might surprise us.
We've got a seal gone in here, Matt, on the hub of the axle.
Yeah.
And we're going to have the kingpins done top and bottom. So that pin there that goes down into that, it's what the steering works on. 2 pins, top and bottom. And we're going to have those done as well. He will check the steering joints while he's at it, because he's got it all apart and everything off. If the steering joints are dodgy, we'll do those as well.
Yeah.
I haven't dropped that on him yet, but I will do.
And what's the reason Pete hasn't done it? Peter's got enough jobs to go out on his own, hasn't he?
Yeah, we've got enough to do. Just clamber up and down, mate, and see the lines. You will see the wires that are broken. There are 2 that go up and over the top. You can see just down on top of the ram. Yeah. If you just clamber up on there, you'll see. See the prop shaft, Matt?
Yeah.
And you can see the broken wires. Do you see the bus wires?
Yeah, I can see them.
That's all that's happened. The net's gone up and over the top, flicked up and round.
Yeah.
And that's all the problem will be. I would imagine the boom's just stopped, but I should think the wires are shorted, mate. I'm just going to clamber on it. I was hoping to get the boom up to go in from the top. Right. But I'll go into the bottom and have a look and see what I can do. Get the wires apart. Yeah. We'll do something. But one of the shortfalls of these Manitou pickups is the fact that they haven't got a guard on the PTO. There's no big belly plate. On some teleporters, they have a guard underneath. Shaft, the guard will be underneath and the shaft runs above. Yeah. We had a bit of luck. When the net caught it actually joined all the wires together, shorted everything, but it hadn't showed up on that. Huh. The minute I parted the wires, it said, oh, there's a fault. Yeah. So I'm thinking, oh, for safety, I'll keep the wires apart. Taped them up last night just to move it. Yeah. Good old thing. Brought it in here. Of course, I've got the isolator on, so I can turn it off, no issues. Turn the isolator off, kills everything. Fired it this morning, of course, nothing works on it. I'm like, oh, bless. Drawing everything back up. I actually thought there was a fuse gone, because there is a fuse on the up and down, so there was a fuse on the control unit. Yeah. And I just thought, oh, well, get everything joined back up. Pop the fuse in, way it'll go. But no, drawing everything back up, all back to normal, joystick works, yeah, job's good. So, yeah. Let's have a little look then. I put a bit of wire in on one because it had actually pulled it and busted wire, so we just joined it with a bit of wire. Yeah. Let's go with that. Should be alright. I wouldn't even be able to. Oh, yeah, I see it down there. Yeah, I wouldn't even notice. What's it look like? Yeah, good. The stuff that's taped up. The stuff that's taped on the top, yeah, was a repair we did before. Oh yeah. And I'll tell you what that was. We did a hell of a lot of burning of hedges over at Merton. Yeah. And the teleport was brand new. No. And you know when you just like, that don't smell quite right. Yeah. And it burnt the wire. And a few embers had come up and landed on there. Luckily, the teleporter was like not very old, and it was all clean. Yeah. So we just smelled it, and it's like, that don't smell quite right. And we brushed it off, and there's no issues. No. Take the wires up, and it's been like that from almost since it was brand new. Right, there's a problem on here. I'll show you. On the bonnet for a start. Right. This one's at an age now where you're thinking about chopping it in. You know, in the next few years. We've got a little tiny leak on this tap. When I washed off, I noticed all this was coolant. Ah, yeah. So there's a little leak on this tap, and I can see where it's been running. There's a little mark here and here. This is just a tap to turn off your heater to stop water going to the heater matrix. Yeah. Because if your aircon, they won't put those in as standard. So your aircon will always have a little bit of water trickling through if you put a temperature sensor against your aircon,
yeah,
it may read -1, there or thereabouts, whatever.
Yeah.
Could be -2, Matt. You put a tap in your heater line and turn that off.
Yeah.
That will read a degree or 2 lower.
Oh right, so you get better performance out your
a lot
aircon.
better performance out your aircon, and it should of course shut off on your switch, on your heater switch.
Yeah.
But that's not as good as that.
That cuts it off completely.
We'll cut it off completely. We'll always turn that off in the summer.
Yeah.
Your aircon will run 1 or 2 degrees cooler.
Yeah, and you got the same on the tractors I've seen, haven't you? You got
the tractors quite often come as standard.
Ah, right.
Tractors will quite often come as standard, but we'll all, like this didn't come as standard, so
No.
we just pop that, just cut the pipe, pop
Yeah.
that in the line,
Oh,
turn
sweet.
it off, and that was the combine doctor told us that.
All right.
It's, because he's pretty cute on air conditioning.
Yeah.
That's what.
Oh,
So
sweet.
there is a little time, and I think it's actually. I was trying to see before I left it running a second. I don't think it's round there. I think it's actually a new tap because I think it's coming out the top of the tap.
Ah.
But we're good. Yeah,
Sweet.
we're good. Pete's serviced it. Yeah, we're ready to rock and roll again. Yeah, it's another season, mate.
Yeah.
I don't remember what they offered us for it. It was like, yeah, I thought I was taking a mickey.
Yeah. No. But these machines here are the most used and probably the most valuable machines on the farm, aren't they, really? With the work that they do. You use them every day, don't we?
I don't know how old this is, mate. It's on a 14 plate. 6.5 years old. We would have had it, I would imagine we would have had it about this time of year.
Yeah.
I can't be 100% on that, but I would think that's when it came. It's done 6,700 hours, 6,800 hours. We've had no issues with it apart from electrical gremlins.
Yeah.
Would be the best way to put it. No great shakes, mate.
No, but you've always managed to sort them out, haven't you?
Those pipes were an issue, Matty, down the boom there. You can see we've got the steel pipes, the 2 steel pipes, and we've got 2 flexi pipes. Those 2 were steel pipes, which looked a lot tidier, but actually were always breaking on the elbows, where they just rolled the pipe and bent the pipe, they put it in a press, just bent the pipe. We were always having issues. It was on the downs.
Yeah.
We put 2 rubber pipes on.
Yeah.
Joined it onto the steel halfway back down the boom. No issues.
Yeah.
We always keep one of those spare.
Yeah.
So we can run it from right to the back to the front, down the side of the boom. We'll cable tight to the boom, keeps us going.
And does the newer one have the same issues?
No, touch wood.
No.
Not had the issues.
Huh.
Different pipe, different steel. I don't know, Matt.
Yeah.
Rolled in a bit fraction different manner. Different company perhaps rolled the pipe. I don't know.
Oh.
But it was always on the bend, just where that rolls on the bend, and it's one of those things, mate. It's been a bloody good machine.
Yeah.
It's been a good machine. But we do look after it. As much as it looks dirty all winter.
Yeah. A lot of maintenance required, isn't there? A lot of greasing, a lot of...
Yeah. And you've got to change your oils regular, mate.
Yeah.
You know, we change axles and hubs, and in the diffs we'll change.
Yeah.
You know, and it makes... 100 quid spent there, mate, is worth £1,000–2,000 repair bill.
And it won't happen in the winter when you're not using it quite so much. It'll happen in the summer
For definite.
when you're out in the field and you need it.
Yeah. And I'm not saying you never have a breakdown. We had one day, I remember one day last year, I think, that we had both teleporters down.
All right.
We had some with the AdBlue on that other one. I don't remember exactly what. Do you remember it?
Yeah.
I actually don't remember what was wrong with this. But we had both teleporters down for a day.
Yeah.
You know, unheard of, absolutely unheard of. Well, the AdBlue pump was something we could. It was in limp mode, so we could use it.
Yeah.
It was just the fact they came to fix it on the same day that this one happened to be. Both of them were in. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
But I think that's a first. I don't remember. I'm not saying you never have a problem.
No. But you're going to have And what was the telltale sign that you needed new things in here?
Right, when Pete had it jacked up, because he's spinning it round to get this level plug. Right, the basically has a level plug and a drain plug.
Yep.
So he jacks it up, puts it to the bottom to drain it.
Yep.
Brings it halfway back up for a level plug.
Yep.
And because Pete's what he is, he wobbles the wheels, a little bit of play.
Yeah.
So we can round have a look, bit of a conflab over what we're going to do. And I think we'll sell it. I think the machine's going to be, I think we will sell it, Mark.
Yeah,
but they were talking such nonsense figures second hand.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Go too much
no, I know. They want to give you nothing for it, and then gain another 10 grand on it when they sell it. But she had a new set of tyres on this time, didn't she? She had a new set of tyres. Good machine.
Right, I'm doing another season.
Yeah. If you haven't got one of these machines and you have one of these turn up, you never go back, will you?
Right, I can remember the day. I can remember me and Dad sat at a table. Can we justify a telehandler? We sat and had a discussion on it. Can we justify it? And then it's one, Uncle Frank had got one, Col had got one.
Yeah.
And we borrowed it a few times. It was bloody brilliant. It was a fantastic machine. And we actually sat there and thought, can we justify this machine?
What did they start off at price-wise? These machines, when you were looking at them, when you first looked at them, because they're the price of a tractor now, aren't they?
Yeah.
Getting on for.
But they probably were in the day.
Yeah.
And I think that's what the thing was, Matt. For all of us, I suppose of an age group that you brought up, Dad's attitude was, we're doing everything with a loader, you've got a tractor. These are only good for loading, and we could tow a trailer, but we've always towed trailers. People tell us we shouldn't. We've always had trailer brakes fitted, we've always towed trailers with them. But they were a limited machine, weren't they? They had a self-propelled loader. That's, in essence, a tractor, you drop the loader off, you're away doing something else with it, you'll be playing with it.
Yeah.
Merlo have actually got one with hydraulic arms on the back, I think.
I've seen it, a 3-point linkage, haven't they? Yeah, and a PTO.
And a PTO. I mean, you imagine something that all day with a fucking power on the back. It sends you bonkers.
Oh, man.
There's everybody else with their GPS and thing, and there's Merlo with a... I don't know. I don't know how that works, mate.
No, I don't.
I certainly wouldn't.
I've seen them.
They probably were the price of a tractor in their day. Because I remember tractors being... 30 grand brand new. That's
really.
Yeah. For donkey's years, we would chop a tractor in after 3 years, 4 years, and the figure you would have to part with would be somewhere between 12 and 15,000 quid. That'd be a 100 horsepower tractor. For years, it was about that. It was 12 to 15, depending on the spec you had, what tyres you had, blah blah. But then things, you then sort of talking 20, 25. I think they were looking for me to swap this in. They were looking for me to part with nearly 60 grand.
Oh, right.
And I'm just like,
give you nothing for it, basically.
Yeah, this ain't bent about, it's not smashed about, it's not knocked about.
No.
Yes, it needed a set of tyres. Because I'm what I am, I know a set of tyres going to cost 2 grand.
Yeah.
We do enough of them, so what they're going to cost. I'm not saying they're going to be bang on 2,000 quid, but in that ballpark, you part with 2, that's where you're going to be. That's what it is, mate.
Yeah. And when did you go from having 1 to 2? When did you justify having 2?
Right, we sold a Sanderson and bought a John Deere. That's a massive convoluted story. Basically, the John Deere arrived with everything was the cycle time on it. They were selling it on the cycle time. It's the fastest cycle time, and it was fast, but it was mental. It was just beyond belief, mate. If you, I'm not bullshitting. If you start up in here, mate, if you glanced at that kite on the top of that and was lifting it at the same time, it'd be through that roof. It was just so quick. It would drop the bucket, but everything was bang and clang. So there was nothing smooth on it. Top and bottom of it, we sold it. We traded their Sanderson for that. It was a TL6 Sanderson for that, and it was just a bag of shit. There is not another word to describe it. And John Deere sent me a little card, and it was it was like a questionnaire of how I was getting on with the Telehandler, and I'd had this thing for a month, and I'm not lying to you, it was just crap. You'd start the loader, nothing was smooth, so they on the joystick they call it the hop on and hop off value. So it would nothing smooth. It was supposedly proportional. The second you touched it, it would go bang. And because it was so fast, it was just like that. It was going down. It would go 2 foot in a second. So
yeah, you're going to break everything.
We're trying to load bales with it. Initially, we had it. We cleaned all the sheds out, but trying to load bales with it on flat eights, it would drop bales out the grab. It would send you bonkers. And to a point, Nobby was here at the time. I'm on the phone to Rog, he worked for Jim Nance, and I'm like, Rog, have you still got my Sanderson there? He said, yeah. I said, I'm sending the old boy up for it. Well, what are you going to do with that? I'm like, this thing is just a bag of shit. I said, I'll load it on the trailer for you and bring it back. I will swap it back to my old one.
Mm.
So after a bit of to and fro on the phone, we go up, we pick our old Sanderson up, and we go to this John Deere, and we go through the summer with the two. And we were using the John Deere where we could. We then get into the winter, they're swapping joysticks. There's a lot of work going on this thing. They're swapping joysticks, they're doing this, they're doing that. Lad comes down, he rings me on you know, this is going over periods of months. And the boy, he'd bring a joystick on the Friday. They pinch it out the one in the yard. A week later they're coming back, they bring another joystick, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to swap the joystick. Wait a minute, mate, is that the joystick that you took away last week? Oh yeah, I think it is. So you're actually putting the same joystick on that you took out a week ago. Yeah. Well, do you really think that's going to do it? Mate, it went on and on and on. Cutting a very long story, I filled this questionnaire in, telling them that it's a bag of bones, basically.
Mm.
You know, I've spent whatever it was we had. I don't know what it cost at the time. I don't remember. It'd be probably 45,000, something in that region, I would imagine. John Deere, I'm just like, nothing will come of this. It's just a waste of time filling this in. 3 months later, a lad from John Deere phones me up. He said, we've got five or six engineers over from Germany. They're looking at telehandlers, they're looking at combines, and there was something else, I don't remember what. Can they come and look at this machine for you? I said, you're bloody right you can, because you know, it's rubbish.
Yeah.
So they come in, they connect the laptop up to it. The other thing it was doing, if you had a full load on the front, so if you got a grab full of muck on the front, by then we got into the winter, grab full of muck on the front, this thing would go up to the height of your eyes. By the time it's got from the height of your eyes up to the top to load onto a tipper trailer, it started juddering, and it's dropped all your muck out the floor. Honestly, you couldn't make it up. You could not make it up, honestly.
Oh my God.
So these lads come, I'm telling them the problems, and this lad just stands and listens, and he said, yeah, and I wasn't irate or whatever, because I just resigned myself to, I'll get it sorted, you know, like everything, I'll get it sorted. I'm telling him about the juddering, yeah, I know what that is. Have you got a socket set? Yeah. He puts the boom out, there's a big relief valve on top of the boom. They got one with them, they screw that in, instantly stops it. Go and try it, yeah, bang, job done, no issues. You know, this is alright. Right, now tell me what you want on the joystick. He plugs his computer in. The angles on the joystick, so the joystick would upright, it would work, you'd touch it 5 degrees that way, it'd start working. It'd be 25 or 30 or 40 the other way. So nothing was, it was okay once you got used to it, but actually becoming just a tiny bit one way, but halfway across on the other.
Yeah. And
it was the same on all 4 directions. So I'm saying, well, if you can have it to start on 5 degrees, he's telling me that the narrow one was 5 degrees. I said, get it to start on that, and then proportional all the way through. So within 5 seconds, he sorted that.
Yeah.
The speed, I'm like, it's great, but it's too fast. Let's slow it. Can you slow it down? Oh yeah. They slowed this thing down, and I did make a mistake because I actually had the bucket tip going a little bit too slow. But I never changed it because everything these boys done in an hour of those lads being here, sorted it out.
Yeah.
We kept that machine, believe it or not, it done 15,000 hours when we sold it. John Deere stopped making them, and we rated it so much that we kept the machine, hoping that they would start building them again. Because one of the reasons they stopped, because I think this is the only market, the UK is the main market, not the only market, it's the main market. They wanted to turn them all the research into the sprayers, and me and Dad always hoped that they would start again. So that John Deere ran for 10 years. We ran it till we bought this. We traded it for this. It was after that first 8 months, it was just brilliant. Just bloody fantastic.
Yeah.
We had no issues with that machine. I can honestly tell you, we never had issues with that machine from day dot. We had a forward control issue, back and forward issue. That actually was again with broken wires. That was down under the spool block. That was a bloody major operation. I had to have the spool block out on the thing. And it was just arsenic. It was just mucky because oil everywhere. You got the oil in your pipes. It was just oil everywhere, shit and oil everywhere. Get the pipes, get the wiring done. The wiring was underneath. The wiring was underneath. Made a new section of lube, put that in. Never had a problem with that again. We'd have issues with the engine mounts, and we put a Jaguar XJ6 engine mount on the side. We made a third engine mount for it.
Right.
We put a plate, because those engines would be used for various things. So I made a bracket to go alongside the engine and put a Jag engine mount halfway along. And the sole reason we had a Jag engine mount kicking about was because we'd been using them for banger racing, and we got various bits and pieces kicking about in the shed. And a Jag XJ6 engine mount was like, yeah, that's big enough. And that's what done the job.
Why did you have to put an engine mount in there? Because was it rocking or?
Right, the only thing we could put it down to was Billy Bouncing foot.
I know what's coming now.
Because he's a little bit short, he couldn't reach the throttle. So every time the seat bounced, you could hear him coming around the yard.
Is this the old man we're talking about? Right, we're talking about the old man. He's got little legs. And he would, where the seat would bounce, his leg would come off the throttle, so it would.
And because the engine, because the torque is going through the engine, ram, and it's trying to tilt the engine every time it revs, and it was all the time. We'd hear him come around this yard, seat bouncing, and me and Barry would just laugh around. Everybody else I spoke to never had an issue with engine mounts on a John Deere Telehandler.
No.
But we did, and we'd have one after the other. It would break the mount, it would break the thing. It was a right ball ache, and they were a real arseache to repair because there's no room in there. You're going in the back, down the side of the engine.
Yeah.
And if it snapped the bolts off, it was even worse. If it broke the mount, like, yeah, bingo, at least I could do something with it. If it broke the bloody bolts off in the side of the engine, I'd probably got out the engine out to get the bolts out. And honestly, it was a right ball ache.
And after you put that third mount in, no problem.
Killed it, yeah.
Well, because it's got another.
Well, it's either that or now some blocks to the bottom of his boots. One of the
two. Brilliant. I was
here. In the 70s, it'd have been alright, because he'd had his platform shoes on, it'd been great.
Oh yeah, that's it, disco dancing all the way. I was here when you first had that machine and you just traded it in for this, and even me and young Andrew went on about it, didn't we? We didn't want to get rid of it, did we? No. Because it really was a really nice machine.
We ended up, that John Deere was so bad, initially, we ended up taking it back. We picked the sanity up, we did what we got to do, and this thing, by the end of the summer, pissed me off so much that we actually took it back to Risborough. But what happened, literally, as I shook hands on the deal to buy it, John Deere took the franchise away from Risborough, gave it to Farrell's. Mm-hmm. Roger rang me up and said, because they were all in shock, it was just totally out of the blue. To them, it had just come as a major surprise. So he's saying, look, what do you want to do? Do you want to cancel this thing or not? And I'm like, no, can you look after it? Yeah, we can look after it. Right, let it go through. It's no issue. John Deere, a massive company, you know, they're going nowhere. Whether Farrell's deal with it, whatever, they ain't going. Because what I hadn't taken into account was all the electronics on it and what John Deere wouldn't do was supply RIS for agriculture with the software.
Right.
So of course all the updates and stuff like this that go on, you know what happens, Matt, stuff comes with electronics on, they update it, it's just how it is. So they couldn't really look after it. So that's how sort of Farrell came to be involved with looking after it. And in fairness to Farrell's, they did a bloody good job on it. They were the ones that sorted out the John Deere bulls, and once they got that sorted, fantastic. I traded to Sanderson for that John Deere.
Yeah.
Immediately we'd done it, we were borrowing Uncle Franklin's.
Right.
Because we were we got more going on. And and then when we had the one back, we went and fetched the Sanderson back to go alongside each other, and it was like, yeah, this is better. So in the winter, we actually went out and bought another Sanderson.
All right.
And they were a little tiny machine, and we managed for years with it. The hydraulics on them and the joystick were just brilliant.
They got it right.
Oh, just superb.
Yeah.
But it, then of course when we tried and had this 7 metre machine instead of the 6 metre, we always managed with a 6 metre now, and we still could. It's not that we can't, but a 7 metre is much better.
Yeah.
But of course the 7 metre is a bit wider, a bit clumsier. But this wheelbase width and the length of dimension that wasn't a million miles away from the John Deere.
Yeah.
So we thought, well, actually, if all the overall diameter of everything is, what you're looking at is when you're in a shed, man. So if you're trying to get between posts, fiddle about, we were putting a lot of hay in the sheds. So your sort of circumference that you could turn in then didn't want to be any bigger, if that made sense. No,
you don't want to go bigger than
the 7 metre wheelbase was not a great deal different on this than what the John Deere was.
Yeah.
So we thought, let's try 7 metres. We had one on demo, tried it. That's the way we went. So that's really why we ended up with a 7 metre one.
Yeah, and they're perfect, aren't they?
From the Sanderson, this is like double the size. That
is it?
TL6 was just, it was, you could squeeze in and out of anything.
Yeah.
And I've always perhaps thought to myself, if I don't want to go back to that age of machine, if you know what I mean.
No. But you could do with a small one for the niggly piggly bits.
A smaller one, just fiddling about in the yards and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But if you buy an old teleport, I'm not sure that's the way to go. Let's put it that way.
No.
You don't know what you're buying, mate. That's the trouble.
No.
That's the issues with them. But they're good. And now, of course, we get to a point now where we've got the loader on that 77, whatever it is. So we've got 3 loaders.
Yeah, in the summer.
That little Ford loader is kicking about.
Yeah.
Very rare we use it, but it's blooming useful if you want to, like if you want to get a buzzle or something like that, leave a tractor stood there. You stick up a Hort and loading round bales. Yeah,
stick a spike on it. You can grab a bale.
Yeah, like we've got, if we've got some bales in the shed then, Matt, in the winter, and Lynn wants 3 bales out, we can leave that tractor stood there. We haven't got a trolley up with a teleporter. We can just go up, get what we need.
Yeah.
So that it is useful.
Yeah.
Because when our real pinch point for us is when we're doing corn and we're trying to load straw, probably load hay as well. And then we have coals down. We have coals Merlot, and that perhaps sit on a grain pusher or something like that.
Yeah.
That's
handy machine.
Get days or weeks where you've got a hell of a lot going on and you could do with 3 teleporters.
Yeah.
Can you justify one all year? No, of course you can't.
No, it wouldn't be used all year, would it?
But then there's never a day, I can honestly say, there is never a day, certainly a weekday, that we ain't using both teleporters.
No, they're both,
just never a day. There's
no.
When we both were down, it was like, bloody hell, this is hard work.
Yeah. And you try and do it with a loader, mucking out the yard and, even feeding up in the yard. Well, that's hard work, isn't it? You can, we've done it.
There's plenty of people do it.
Yeah.
But it's what you get used to.
Yeah. These just make it so easy, don't they?
Keith used to stack. I don't know what John would do bales a year, but probably Keithy would have stacked 20,000 bales a year with a tractor and loader.
Really? In a shed?
He would double handle everything because they would stack them up in the field, put them on, they would put them on trailers, then they'd run out of trailers, so Keithy would stack them up. Then he'd go back, reload them, take them back to the barn, empty everything with a tractor and loader.
Yeah, and I suppose
and his barns were tight. They weren't nice, great big 100-foot square barns. These were little pole barns, stuff like that. Keithy was, and he did it all.
Yeah.
With a tractor and loader. I wouldn't want to do it, but and we used to do everything with a tractor and loader. You know, I was trying to think the loader we had. There's various loaders kicking about now, but the one that we did the bulk of our work with was probably on a 3080 initially, and then on a 3085. Then we had a 3095.
What are those? Massive Higgins?
Masses, about 110 horse, 120 horse, something in that region. And we had quite a big loader, but it was so bloody slow. It had the huge rams on it, you know, it would lift 2 tons, do this, do that, where all it would do was lift the arse of the tractor off the ground. But worked so slow, because the rams were so big, it was just so slow work, you know.
Yeah.
But we had it for years, you know, we had...
Yeah, but you get by with it, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. We used that type of loader then for years and years, mate.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. That's all right. This will go at some point, mate.
Yeah.
And I look at it, to be truthful, mate, if I was going into a yard and look at that second hand, I wouldn't be unhappy with that machine second hand.
No.
You know, because I'm quite picky on what I buy second hand, I'd be looking at thinking, yeah, it's relatively tidy. Yeah, there's a few chips and stones. You see most of these machines, mate, they would have no mirrors on, no mud guards. This would all be stoved in.
Alright.
Honestly, this would all be scratched. You know, okay, we've got a few little scuff marks on it, but that would all be bent and buckled.
Yeah.
You know, so that to me is, you know, I'd look at that thinking, yeah, nice straight machine.
Hope you enjoyed that one. Yeah, there's a little bit of going back through the history of the old teleporters. Once we get onto the tractors, I'll get the farmer to go back through the old tractors that they used to have, because that's interesting as well. Things are going to get super busy around here, so it's still ever so wet everywhere, so yeah, we're still a week or two away from doing any silage or anything like that, but we've still got stacks of jobs to do yet. So yeah, we'll leave it there. Hope you enjoyed that one. If you did, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you subscribe, and merch in the description, check it out. We'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.